All right, forecast. Yes, let's first take a look at the economic calendar on the left side of our screen. Then what we see is Monday, Tuesday, quite slow, and US dollar orange news, which is not really something I'm interested in. So I'm mainly waiting for Wednesday right there for the US dollar as well. Then Thursday and Friday, absolutely perfect. Nothing really wrong with it. So that looks quite interesting. And the rest, we have JPY, we have New Zealand dollar, mainly euro, quite a lot, Canadian dollar as well. Euro again, no real GBP on Wednesday. All right. Interesting. So news-wise, nothing really holding us back. Let's look at the dollar first right here on the forecast list. What we see is that we are definitely, and I can confidently say that we are reaching for this low right there and the overlapping high. Now the question becomes is, once we reach that overlapping high, what do we actually do? Because do we continue higher off of that, or do we disrespect that and create a new bearish daily fair value gap? Let's say we arrive at Wednesday, and at Wednesday we have created a bearish daily fair value gap. Then I would prefer bearish prices. But let's say there is no bearish daily fair value gap by the time we reach Wednesday. Then on Wednesday, I would prefer something maybe like a previous day low sweep on Tuesday, or if we haven't reached the overlapping high at all, then I would prefer still higher prices right there. So it really depends what is Monday and Tuesday going to do. Even though they don't have news, they are still quite important to know what they are going to do. So makes it, of course, also a little bit easier. Why? Well, simply said, if we don't know what Monday and Tuesday are going to do yet, and we can wait because we don't have news events on a day, so we're likely not going to trade it, perfect. Then I can still easily wait for Wednesday. Then, for ES right here, this also really depends on what the dollar wants to do. And ES has been very strong, and that's why all this time, even if the dollar going higher, I'm not too convinced on lower price on ES and the indices overall, because these have been just super strong. So on ES, on Nasdaq, all-time highs are definitely in the conversation right there. With Nasdaq as well, all-time highs right there. Now, how are we going to deliver there? That's the main question, of course. On the daily, if we create daily fair value gaps, that could be very interesting to then deliver higher off of that. Same for ES right there. For YM, really nice price action overall right there on the 4 hour. Got no real retracement into discount rate. It's the only thing that's a bit of a shame. But other than that, the new all-time high is sitting right there as well, which is very, very clear target. Daily fair value higher could be very, very nice. DAX right here. Now DAX can follow. DAX can definitely follow, but is it going to push all the way higher? It doesn't really seem like DAX has that volatility like the other indices have currently. So it would definitely be about reading the lower time frame fair value gaps here. I do think we can currently still continue higher since we are not respecting the fair value area right there, neither that daily fair value gap lower. So if we want to push higher, then that swing high is definitely a nice target as well. Australian dollar, US dollar. We're coming into this daily fair value gap. Now, we do not really have an overlapping part. The next overlapping part is sitting right there, which overall, this is one big breaker that we have as well. So this is already inside the overlapping part. Potentially a previous day high sweep to continue lower. We do not really have Australian dollar news, so it's mainly going off of US dollar news as well, which is Wednesday. So here I'm going to let it sort of marinate on Monday and Tuesday and sort of wait to show what it actually wants to do. And then on Wednesday, see, all right, can we still continue lower or will we actually continue higher? Because here, very clearly said, we did reach this discount rate, the drawn liquidity, and we are creating potentially a new daily value gap higher. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Euro US dollar. Let's see. We have the daily fair value gap, and this is just very similar. We have the month fair value gap as well, right there. But on the daily, this is the deciding factor right there, that overlapping part. If we do not continue lower off of that, then I think we are reaching for the highs again right there. That's very important. GU. GU is not something I would want to get involved right now. It's just simply consolidating, not really clear on what it wants to do. I want to wait. I want to wait right here to show, all right, what is the dollar actually doing, and then follow through on GU as well. Because we can see it is just really strong overall GU. And that's the thing right here, as in, we had a daily VWAP lower, but it didn't respect that. So here, that's just not super clear on where it can continue lower from. Neither is it very clear on where it can continue higher from. So I want to wait. Then I'm definitely going to add EU to the short list right there. Well, yes, but mainly to the waiting list at the beginning of the week. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, the lows right there, definitely a nice target. Although we do not really have a clear discount rate that we can continue lower off of. So here, I am also not going to add it to the list. I am expecting this low to be reached right there. After that, this small weekly VWAP gap that we have right there is also a nice next target potentially. US dollar, Canadian dollar. We came into this weekly order block right there. And right here, it is quite important that if we do want to continue higher, I would like to see a new daily VWAP gap higher. In the meantime, if we create a new daily VWAP gap lower, then with the dollar potentially continuing lower as well, here, this could very well actually continue lower towards a new low. So definitely something to keep in mind right here. I still want to wait, but I am going to add it to the waiting list as well. US dollar CHF, let's see. It's not super interesting, and I also don't really want to do anything right here, to be honest. US dollar JPY. Now this is quite interesting because this can also reach for new all-time highs right there. And on the daily, how can we deliver there? Do we have something on the weekly actually? No, weekly VWAP gap, it's way too low. Daily VWAP gap sitting right there as well. To continue higher off of that could be quite nice. Even with the dollar continuing lower, US dollar JPY is just looking quite bullish. So it's because JPY is just very weak at this moment in time. So this could also be quite nice. I'm going to add it to the waiting list. Silver. Silver would only be nice to me if we have the daily VWAP gap continuing lower right now. So a new daily VWAP gap lower off of this previous daily VWAP gap. That could be quite interesting, but I would still want to wait. For gold, gold is the exact same thing, and I'm not too convinced on lower price actually here on gold. I do think we can even look to continue higher potentially. I would still want to wait right here. I'm not too sure on what it actually wants to do right now. Bitcoin, let's see. Bitcoin had daily VWAP gap right there. Then for the rest of the week and the coming week, my target would be still this weekly VWAP gap sitting right there. After that, I do think that we can definitely look to continue higher. So higher prices are definitely still in the conversation right here on Bitcoin. Crude oil. We still have this monthly fair value gap right there. And then on the weekly, we see just overall consolidation. On the daily, what do we see? Again, consolidations, very tiny daily VWAP gap higher right there. But it's just, I want to see a new daily VWAP gap higher off of that to actually be interested overall. So I do not want to do anything right now. Nifty. Nifty, we mentioned this overall ST, and we can look to continue lower off of this to target that weekly fair value gap right there. Or sorry, monthly fair value gap actually, right? What is it? It's a weekly, yeah, no, it's a weekly value gap, got confused. That weekly value gap, yes. Then, if we move on to the crosses, let's see. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, what are we doing? Inside the monthly value gap, with the breaker as well, can we look to continue higher off of that? That is the question. That could actually be really interesting if we get the right confirmation. So here, a first great confirmation would be not continuing lower off of those daily value gaps right there, and then creating a new bullish daily value gap off of that, creating potentially 4-hour value gap right there. Could be very nice to continue higher off of that. Definitely going to add it to the list, but still to the waiting list. Still waiting a little bit here. Let's see, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar news actually. Australian dollar news? Mwah, not really. Bank holiday on a Thursday. And that's it. That's it. All right, that's not too great. Canadian dollar news on Wednesday though. So Wednesday, And with the amount of Canadian dollar news, we could potentially look to trade that into Thursday as well. Mainly Wednesday and Thursday for Canadian dollar and Australian dollar, Canadian dollar here. Australian dollar CHF. Do we have Australian dollar or CHF news? If no, then I'm not going to look at it. No, we don't. No, we don't. So I'm not interested in this right here. Australian dollar JPY. Do we have JPY news? Beginning of the week, end of the week, a little bit. Tokyo Core CPI right there. Other than that, beginning of the week, that's it. All right, not too crazy. Let's see. Weekly, just obviously also reaching for these highs right there. That is a draw on liquidity in my eyes. Right now, daily fair value gaps higher is the ideal scenario. And after that, I would want to see quite fast price action as well. Reason for that is because we have made quite a lot of retracements. So the draw on liquidity is quite close. I do think we can see that last move be quite fast right now to actually target higher as well. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. I'm going to add Australian dollar JPY, by the way, to the waiting list. For the beginning of the week, could be interesting. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar here. And we have New Zealand dollar on Tuesday. For the rest, nothing. So CPI on that Tuesday. So then Tuesday and Wednesday could be tradable for that New Zealand dollar potentially. If price is agreeing as well. Let's see. Monthly ugly, weekly ugly, daily. It's the only thing that could be nice to continue higher right there, but it's not looking too great. I'm going to add it to the waiting list, but overall, it's not having high expectations from it. Canadian dollar CHF, let's see. Yes, Canadian dollar on Wednesday, but it's the only one. It's not too great, to be honest, for the crosses right here. Let's see, on the monthly, weekly, coming into an order block right there. So I do not really want to look for longs right now, because I do think we can see a rejection right there. So it's not really interesting in my opinion. Canadian dollar JPY, let's see. On the weekly, pretty clear that we are reaching for those highs right there. How can we deliver there? The daily, potentially daily for value higher, could be quite interesting actually. So I'm going to add it to the waiting list. CHF JPY, let's see. Weekly, not interesting. Daily, not interesting. I'm not going to trade this right here. Mainly because we don't have fair value gaps or anything to deal with right now. Euro Australian dollar. This could actually be quite interesting. If we get a new daily fair value gap higher right there, or even lower, then this could definitely be quite interesting to look at. So I'm going to add it to the waiting list. Euro Canadian dollar. Oof, by looking at the daily, I don't like this. Weekly also not continuing a lower fair value gap. Daily, no fair value gaps. Don't want to trade this. Euro CHF. Let's see. Continuing higher right now, running into those order blocks, and that is definitely where we can expect a rejection as well. So I do not necessarily want to look to trade this right here. No, not really. Euro GBP, let's see. Getting closer to the draw on liquidity. Only thing is that we do not have a daily, we did not come into the weekly value gap. We do not have a daily value gap lower. 4 hour, also not super clear. I do not really like this. Don't really want to get involved. I do think there are better pairs out there. Euro JPY, let's see. Overtaking and disrespecting the weekly value gap. On the daily right there, the draw on liquidities are pretty clear. And if we can get a daily value gap higher as well, could be quite nice, because then we can look to that as a discount rate to continue higher off of. Definitely going to add this to the waiting list. Euro New Zealand dollar. Yeah, this is also quite interesting, and mainly because the draw on liquidity in the form of that weekly order block, or weekly order block right there, very close to it. That could be very interesting to actually look to target. Daily mitigation block. That could be very interesting right now to actually look to target. Although we need a clear discount rate to actually look to continue higher off of. Could be interesting. It's a very short move. If we can get something, then potentially could be nice. Not putting a lot of expectation on it though. GBP Australian dollar. We were disrespecting everything, every premium rate right there. And currently we are seeing a lot of bullish prices. So overall, this whole area can be seen as a breaker area right there. So the overlapping fair value gap that we are currently coming in, I would want to see higher prices off of that right now. So that becomes quite interesting. But news-wise, we only have GBP news on Wednesday. And that's it. So news-wise is not that great. So overall, I'm just also not going to add it to the list right here because I just don't like the news factor. GBP Canadian dollar. Let's see. Weekly fair value gap was very small fair value gap, very close, but it's a very small fair value gap. Do not really like that. No daily fair value gaps higher. Potentially unusual context, but I'm forcing it right here. I do not really like it myself. GBP JPY. Let's see. GBP JPY reached the highs right there. So currently, if we have a daily fair value gap to continue higher off of that, overlapping with the highs as well, that could be quite interesting. In the meantime, simply waiting. I'm not going to add it to the list right now. GBP New Zealand dollar. Let's see. Weekly, just continuing higher. So the draw on liquidity overall is quite obvious. Oh, coming into a weekly order block though. Well, we don't leave behind, or at least a tiny fair value gap right there for the weekly order block. Daily fair value gap higher potentially right there, which could potentially be interesting to then target the highs as well. I'm going to add it to the list because we have Tuesday and Wednesday then, potentially. New Zealand dollar CHF. Let's see. Weekly, not too clear. Daily, no fair value gaps. Don't really like this. Overall, the crosses right here, and same with New Zealand dollar JPY, also not really interesting. And no fair value gaps or anything. Don't really like it. Crosses right here. Some on the waiting list, but overall, I do have to say the ones that are on the waiting list are not, I would say, super high probability, as in they don't look where I think, all right, this is definitely something that I want to trade the coming week. So the main focus for me, or the main hope as well, is going to be on the majors right here. And if the dollar clears up, as in does what we expect it to do, then that could be very nice overall. So that is mainly what I'm looking at. And of course, the indices always can be nice right